Hey guys, and welcome back to the Ramble. I am your humble hairy hermit host, Mythology, and this is proper property theft. The buildings are all creaking in the wind, and the gravel roads are swallowed, sinking into the sea. Our smiles are more akin to treachery than smiles such as they are, and the sun is burning through our eyes, rendering us blind. The hydra-headed serpent reels and queeves at one swung sword, then turns around and grows 7 heads where one was lost. And now the hydra stole mythology and turned it on its head. It seems, you see, not enough to steal old movies and old books. It seems it ain't enough to render old ideas of their own. Now they come for the ancient ones to turn them upside down. And that is the strangest thing to me, this theft and reimagining of old and crafty art. It seems they have no ideas themselves and so must steal instead. I doubt it is that simple though, but who the hell knows anything in this era of the insane and of the dumb? Remakes from the bottom booty call that called calamities in high cocaine crash courses made it from the bloodthorn eyes onto the paper rolls. And this they meant to take the place of all that old decrepit stuff which was better off left dead or burnt and battered in the ground. Remade and reimagined for lack of new ideas perhaps, creative intercourse so lost that inspiration dwindles and is later on found dead. Proper doomsday prophecies would be proper in our lamentable doom and gloom, where art, where beauty, where new ideas have come to die. I would have dubbed it laziness, were it not for some concern behind my eyes that what could be seen as laziness is anything but that. Sure, it seems for sure like laziness to take an old idea and rehash it in the dullest way, to play pretend creativity is reanimation of a corpse. And sure, it seems for sure like lack of creativity to merely gender swap and then be done for sake of women and of woe. Like busting ghosts were just as fun when chunky women did the busting. Sure and yeah and my, but women do it better, see? Like all the complaints of yet another lazy reboot, remake, reimagining from the skull-fucked corners of mouldy Hollywood was soggy knees and nothing but. Like one cannot possibly dislike a movie if there's women in it for no other reason than a hatred of women, for sure, for that makes sense. Like one cannot dislike something with women in it without it being proof that the world hates women so, and if it flops then it is not for lack of talent, but for this searing hatred men so clearly hold, for sure, I know. Like piss in a bottle of wine, or old gunky stains of cum on their frigid thighs. It comes in old-timey accusatory dullness. Nothing new here, old boy, just the same old. Our movies tank and flop and are disliked by all due to misogynistic men, not due to laziness or simply being a bad film. Our art all tanks and flops and are disliked by all due to misogynistic men, not due to laziness or simply being a bad piece. People might just be tired of preachiness and condescension thrown and spat in moans and groans when all they bloody want to do is watch a bloody movie once or twice before they die. People might just be sick and tired of the rehashed, remade, rebooted retribution spun from the hive mind's middle-fingered cock-fought arrogance that shouts them as morally superior with no smidgen to be seen or found of good old-fashioned humility. Forget that it is the customer who, in the end, pays their bloated salaries. Forget that it is the audience who ought to properly decide what flops and what does not. Such is the way of the market, you gender-flunked apostate. May just be, you see, they just made a bloody terrible movie that no one really liked or cared about. Maybe we are smart enough to see the lazy propaganda reimagined as it is. Like seeing feminist articles telling the feminist aristocrats how to feign enjoyment of a movie for political reasons may just be the telltale heart that beat and thump beneath the floorboards thump, telling all the truths that should be told about their wretched trash. And now mythology must be a reversed, rehashed, retold. Medusa is the heroine now, and Perseus her godly gracious Me Too moment in the silent shining sun, or something along those lines. Hell, it's getting hard to follow along with the silent screams and the power fantasy dreams wielded by obnoxious morons with equally obnoxious delusions of grandeur. Alas, my friends, but I do digress. There are something that must be said, a few things that may bloody well be truth if truth be told and sold. I wonder if the constant rebooted, remade, rehashed reimaginings, the nonsense and the poopery, may be driven not by laziness or lack of creative imagination spun and sparked by divine explorations. I ponder if this constant newly spun, hardly won, heartily embraced, gender-swapped movie tropes are made as such as merely yet another attempted revised history now revised through cultural means. Ghostbusters always had them female leads, you see, and Star Wars never had no dudes of any worth, you wart. All the old must be torn down and replaced with something new, you see. That is how the Chinese did it back in the tangled mess of time. And when that new is not enjoyed, then that is proof that it most definitely must be made. Here, you see, is proof of a culture in stagnation and decline. It is the great Maoist refreshment woohoo, and insurgents meant to kill the old and replace it all with all the new, even when the new is old, but hey, even Jesus Christ was new once upon a time, a radical in his own right. And he did change the world, so why the hell not? Makes about as much sense as all the rest. Granted, he is old news now and must be booted out and be replaced with something new, why not? Gender swaps are dull and boring trash, and most everyone agrees. It is lazier than a teenaged brat who lacks in discipline. None enjoy it properly except for those susceptible to shame, who will grovel and will apologise. Sorry, massa, sorry, mister, sure, I sure enjoyed your 2 hours of condescending doomsday dribble. Sure, my madam morbidly obese, your lazily written and hastily gender-swapped thingamajig is art of the highest degree and must be celebrated for its blatant bravery in facing down this vile corrupted patriarchy. Sure, my lady of the chubby cheeks, your reimagined culture thing is greater than the old by far. The new is always better even when it truly ain't. Who cares? I am shamed and I am ridiculed if I don't enjoy eating shit, so it must be said that I sure as hell enjoy eating shit and being served it and then hit and punched by purple-haired goons purple-nurpling me into convenient comrade-like compliance. It is not for lack of ideas they done it all over again, time and time again. It is mere propaganda that made them redo others' work time and time again. Otherwise, if merely rehashing things made by men in the backwater periods of time known as the 1980s and before, one would, perhaps and perchance, be inclined to take this as proof proper, a profound admittance that women are not as creative and original as men by their own handicraft then. And this I cannot properly believe they would admit, underhandedly or not, nor would I believe them to hold this belief, for sure, for sure. It is all revising history, erasing masculine art for the sake of the feminine. It is all revising myths, erasing masculine heroism for the sake of the feminine. It is all to show that women can do it too, even when all they do is making something old into something supposedly new. It is all to show a picture book of history remade, revamped, reawakened, re-emerging from the sheltered shamble of their minds. It is not for women lacking the ability to create something new or something beautiful, far from it in fact and in truth. It is for wanting to lay claim to that which men made or that which men did in the past, even when this most definitely, as shown by attendance and by reviews, goes against the original intent. It doesn't really matter, nothing really does, for it's shown a light on the idea, that which they wanted most of all to show and tell. Men just hate women, and here is proof of that no doubt, for they won't watch a movie made by women starring women, shame for this and shame for that. And the movie is not bad, it is the audience that's bad. The art is not bad, it is the audience that's bad. The message is all that matters, and screw the art and fuck the talent. And if you don't believe it, don't enjoy it, call it out for being trash, then fuck you too, you hate-filled, nasty, mean and wicked man. You just hate women, and that is all, and that is that. And that, I think, was that for this particular ramble. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it more than my previous ramblings. Should you wish to support my blog and my channels, my descent into madness, my caffeine dependence, and my puppies, please check out the links down below where you can buy my books and stalk me on social media. And I'll catch you next time. This is mythology, signing off.